welcome to the Ladies Tale podcast. Thank you, Jade, for letting me
I didn't even get
that.
the hello out. Oh, that's all right though. It's all right. She can have it. Y'all know what? Because I'm in a giving mood today.
Are you? Or are you just in a mood to be taken from?
Wow.
Because I did just take it from you. So
Okay. Hey.
But I mean, be gracious and give.
Hey, look, I'm flowing like the weather. It's beautiful outside.
That's true.
Whatever. Like, I'm just gonna go with whatever.
We should have champagne today.
Of course, because my happy hour is starting like before 5 o'clock today.
Oh my goodness.
Tell you that.
Know what we should do.
What?
We have the ice cream machine. We have to make the frozen mimosas.
Oh no.
With the Grand Marnier.
I love how your high five social distance is still COVID out here.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But exactly. Yes, with the Grand, I feel.
Yeah. We just got to a good spot, y'all.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, let's carry this interview along because
I
got to drink.
Oh, I'm Jade.
And I'm Winona.
Okay.
Oh, yes.
High five social distance. I mean, because I have to think about my mimosas later, so I'm excited.
Yeah. I'm excited. I just want to thank you so much for being semi-professional today. And I don't know why I'm saying semi. It's straight up professional because you remember
it's semi, but everybody else, and straight up professional for us, right?
Exactly.
So we were literary life guys with pop poetry. And I thought divorce was bad with other life lessons. And I thought being grown up was easy. If only I would meet a memoir in verse.
Widow's Web, Widow's Debt.
And Foreign Coffee. All of those where you can get your audiobooks. And I mean, you can check out everything your lady is doing. And like one of my favorite books, soon to be an audiobook. And I thought I did my journey alone at www.andithoughladies.com.
I like how you did that indifferently at what? And then moved on. Okay, I'm sorry.
Okay, see, I was professional.
You were, and then I cut in, and now we're not professional anymore. It's because I have the spaghetti straps on. I'm not looking like a full lady, so
it's because you have I can't. I'm not doing it. I can't. Anyway,
you're not here to hear about us.
We're talk about Winona's spaghetti straps. You're here to hear from my wonderful guest.
Wonderful guest, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh my God. First of all, I love you too. You're a hoot and I'm so excited to be here. My name is Allie Lefevere. Thanks for having me on. This is great.
Thank you for coming on. So would you like to tell us 3 things that you want the world to know about you?
Sure. Yeah. So I guess the first thing is I am one of the co-founders of the humor marketing agency Obedient. So yeah, we're a creative agency specializing in humor. We've worked with some really rad brands, Blue Bunny Ice Cream, Native, Dallas Cowboys, etc. And all of our branding and campaigns are all humor centric, which has been just a dream. Let's see, other fun thing. I have a 3-legged dog named Moki. She's the cutest thing in the whole wide world. She's 13 years old and still one of the fastest dogs at the dog park with down a leg, but still a speed demon. And what else? I live in Chicago now, from Detroit originally, and family's still all there. I think it's still one of the best cities in the whole wide world. And that's it. There we go.
There you go. Well done.
Okay,
I never clapped when a person got finished their 3
I know, but this is amazing.
Yeah.
This is amazing. And all right, so we have to talk about, before we do anything serious, let's talk about Detroit style pizza.
Oh, it's incredible. It's incredible. And it's slowly creeping into Chicago right now too.
So explain
my question.
To us
it's the first. Yeah.
What it is.
So it's essentially square pizza. So it's a 4-corner pizza. So it's not the round, it's square. So everyone goes mental over the 4 corners. It's a little bit thicker. It's not as thick as a Chicago deep dish, but it is a thicker pizza. I would say the best is Jets, which is a chain. And there's a couple in Chicago, and there might be some in Maryland, actually. I can't remember.
No?
Okay. So I've been married before, and I had Jets on my honeymoon, and I have been trying to stalk a Jets ever since. I am divorced for years now, and I'm still like, give me a Jet!
And you're still thinking about the pizza. That's how good it was. But yeah, it's the best pizza. It's funny, in my neighborhood in Chicago, they opened up a Jets Pizza recently. And when my family comes to visit, we always go there and get one because it's just so good.
It is. It's amazing. Like, okay. I almost paid my ex-husband when we were getting divorced just for introducing me to Jets.
Worth it.
And I only had it once. Almost.
Worth the whole marriage and divorce to have known about Jets. So
okay, so if we ever come to Chicago, please know that we want Jets.
Yes.
Done and done. Deal.
All right.
On me.
Fabulous. Now, Winona, a serious question.
Yes. How did you get into like marketing in the first place? That was not the question I wanted to ask. It's very bland. There was another question, but let's just wait. Let's do bland first.
No, let's do bland. Well, I'll try to make it as entertaining as possible. So I have originally started my career with no professional marketing, advertising, branding experience. I worked at a consulting firm, and I, at the time, was writing a humorous blog in Chicago that had some traction. People locally read it. It was basically like talking about life in my 20s and doing it in a funny way. And one of the partners I worked with at the consulting firm were starting a company that was one of the first subscription box companies on the market. And they said, hey, do you want to come on as VP of engagement and do all of our writing, essentially? So that was my first foray into, which ended up being branding and brand development and copywriting and marketing and all that. And then after about a year and a half with that company, which was a nightmare, whole different story, but I decided to break out on my own and do it freelance. And then I did that for a few years. And my best friend at the time was running her own copywriting shop. We both used humor when we were working with brands and developing brand voices, et cetera. And we thought, why would we do this apart? Let's join forces and do this together. And Obedient Agency was formed. And I think the fact that we don't have any traditional background at an agency is actually probably the best thing about our companies, because we don't get caught up in any of the red tape or the silly processes or the brand guides that are worthless and don't add any value. So I think we kind of cut through all the noise and we're able to just lead with talent, which has been fun. So yeah, I started with my best friend, and that's how I got in this world.
I think that like all good brands start with your best friend. The only reason I'm saying that is
I agree.
Is my best friend, and this is our brand. So all good brands start with your best friend.
If you can work with your best friend, it's like a dream. It truly is. And so I'm happy to see another best friend duo that's like thriving, which is great.
So how did you get into writing like humorous things? Were you trying to be a writer when you were growing up? Were you like, oh, I'm just gonna write like little humorous books? Or how did you get it started?
No, I've never felt compelled to like be a writer. I've always enjoyed writing. I used to like write poetry as a kid. And but I think the biggest thing is I come from this really big Italian family, and everyone's funny as hell, and humor. And all my best friends from high school are hilarious, and everyone's like teases each other. And there's just always like a very silly, playful banter. And I feel like humor has just been the way I've learned to navigate life a lot. And so I think I feel the most inclined when I write to use some version of humor, because I think good humor also comes from a place of empathy and respect and understanding and all that. So I think like both of those things live together. But I think humor is just kind of the way I maybe face the world, or see the world, or process the world. And so I think and similar to my best friend and co-founder, Lynsday. So it was just like the most natural style. Also too, when it came to marketing, so much marketing that's out there is very predatory, or it's very boring and it's disengaging. And so humor, if done right, is so inviting and so disarming and so delightful and memorable. So I just think it's also the best style of branding. And I mean, you guys are so full of life and joy and laughter and silly and play. And it just makes for a better, more engaging experience for everyone involved. So yeah, that's kind of why I think I, chose that style. It's just it's something I gravitate toward. And also I just think it's, now really just an effective approach.
So can you tell us a bit about your process about when you're making a new campaign or something? I believe there's a place we can go and read a bit of like the humor and see part of your process.
Yeah, we have, so if you go to our agency site, you'll see something called, it's in one of our drop downs in our menu, it's called Can They Brand That? And Can They Brand That was just a creative exercise that Lynsday and I started, where we would take a brand that we weren't familiar with. We'd set the timer for 20 minutes and we'd riff as many creative ideas as we can. And so it's a very like loosey-goosey, informal, ton of bad ideas come out. And we basically distill it down to a few minutes and we put it out for the world to see. And I will have to say that even though when we work with clients, it's much more strategic and thoughtful and calculated and methodical and all that. And we gather a lot of information up front. We still start every brainstorm very similar, like get all the ideas out because even bad ideas might have a nugget of a good idea that you can extract, or also it just allows you to not hold back with your creativity. So I think you get to better ideas. It's not just like the first idea. It's going, okay, how do you jump off that first idea to the second, third, fourth? So, but yeah, can they brand that? It's funny. We started it about 1.5 years, 2 years ago, and we've actually got hired by some of the companies that we kind of picked out of a hat. Native, who does like body care. They were known for their deodorant to start, but they ended up hiring us, and we've been their like long-term partner redoing their entire brand because we had this 3-minute absurd brainstorm, where we were making like Brad's Pitt's jokes and just silly, dumb stuff that resonated. And so, yeah, it's been fun. So that's definitely like a good place to get a taste of, how we brainstorm when we're messing around.
So is there any chance that you want to like brainstorm, like, can they brand that to pop poets that have written like 14 books?
I love it.
Not stealing my line. I did. I stole it. Well, you stole my beginning. I'm stealing your narcissism.
Well, Nona's narcissism has been taken by Jade. Oh my word.
Well, at least you didn't call it by its wearing name today.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, you stole from her and now she stole back. So I guess we're even playing field now.
It's all good.
I'm going to put a quick reference back. So if you're wondering what Jade is talking about, there's another show where I completely messed up Nona's narcissism, and I named a brand, a name of a bourbon instead, because I was seriously thinking about it.
I was like, you didn't pay attention to this interview.
I wasn't paying attention. I was just like, and this like, yes. And I was like, and that reminds me, I do want bourbon.
It was so
I love
terrible.
it.
Love it.
Okay. So my next real professional question, is there a difference between branding and marketing? If so, what is it? And which one should we think about first?
You know what? Authors, a lot of authors listen to the show.
Yeah, it's really funny because we talk about this all the time, that people use the terms interchangeably. The way that I guess I think of branding is all the foundational language that sets the tone for actually taking your business and turning it into a recognizable entity, right? So that's like the brand voice. That's something that's like foundational, like language you're using as your tagline, what your business name is, your web copy, etc. And I think marketing are all of, once you have kind of that foundational branding in place and it's unique and it's consistent, it's cohesive, I think marketing is the vehicle in which you draw new eyes to your brand. So that might be advertising, advertisements, that might be email campaigns, SMS campaigns, press releases. So I think of that as more branding is the foundational element, which is where I would start if I was building a brand, because you want to get that right. And then marketing, I think more of, getting and sustaining eyes on your brand, like getting people to actually come and see what you're all about and what you have to offer and what you have to say. So that's how I would differentiate it. But it's very messy in the industry where advertising, marketing, creativity, branding, it's all like used interchangeably. So, but yeah, that's how I kind of mentally silo it.
One more section of this. And public relations is different from marketing. How?
Public relations is how I think tends to be, which is funny. That's actually was my major in college, randomly, even though I never pursued it. But I think of public relations is the external facing message that you have like a spokesperson on behalf of a brand that's communicating based on what the brand is experiencing, or maybe you're putting out fires on behalf of the brand, or you're trying to have like a public message. So it's less where marketing is meant to be like entertaining and engaging. I think public relations is meant to more convey a very specific intent and perspective. And there's definitely PR and public relations that's meant to just be marketing as well. Like there is overlap there. So yeah, see how it gets clunky and it's layered. It's very layered. Yeah.
It reminds me of like a Venn diagram, right? So like you have
this side,
and then the middle is it's like overlapping, but it's still different sides.
Yeah, it's kind of the overlapping is like your brand. And it's like, what are all the various elements? Well, there's branding, marketing, advertising, PR, like you need all of them. And so, yeah, it gets a little bonkers.
So what are 3 things that you would tell anyone starting a new brand, maybe like, being an author to like a podcast or whatever else? What are 3 things that they really need to like nail?
Yeah, well, let me think. So I'm kind of off the cuff, just going to talk about a few things that I think are often missing. I think often people have an idea and they don't vet the idea to see, like, is it unique? Like, do you have like, you take your idea and go, do I have a unique perspective? Do I have a unique voice? Do I have a unique take on the thing that I want to talk about or the thing I want to create? Am I approaching it in a way that's different than what else is out there? So I think really trying to understand how you're going to differentiate your brand or your podcast or your book or whatever that is from what's already being done. Are you doing it better? Are you doing it more cost effective? Are you doing it sustainably? Are you doing it in a way that's really funny? So there has to be something that sets you apart. And sometimes that there's really not, like, you're just creating a kind of product similar to what else is out there. And so for us, we tend to go, okay, well, then you have to give it a new voice. So then the second thing I would say is once you kind of understand what makes you different, I think you have to really take some time to understand like how to talk about the thing you do. What is, if you can distill it down into like 10 words or less, what is the thing you do so that if you can understand it and you can make sense of it and you can pitch it and market it and communicate it, then other people can understand and remember it. So I think it's really taking your idea and distilling it down into like a digestible soundbite. Like for us, Obedient Agency, our tagline is fun sells. And that is our ethos too. It's like we use a humorous, playful, fun approach to marketing and branding because we believe fun sells and ultimately it's a value add for your business. So I try to think like differentiate yourself in some meaningful way and then figure out a way to say that. And then I think also too is like give your brand, I mean, these are like such big buckets. So I don't mean to like, these are not like easy overnight things. But then I think a third thing is that once you start to put the pieces in place to build your brand, I think like creating a unique, but also cohesive voice. I think a lot of times that is resonant to your audience. So I think a lot of times people, when they start branding their business, they use their own voice because that's the voice they know, but they don't really consider, is it make sense? Is it cohesive? Is it coherent? Is it unique? And is it going to engage my ideal audience? So I think that it's really understanding who your audience is and what do they need to hear? What do they need to feel? What do you need to communicate to them in order for them to feel excited, engaged, specifically spoken to? So like, and then that's where, when we're developing a brand voice, every tone and tactic that we create helps elicit a different emotion. And so we have to know who our audience is because we want to draw out specific things from that audience. So yeah, those are kind of those are huge buckets, but those are maybe the 3 things like off the top of my head, I think are so important and are all really foundational in nature. Yeah.
I love it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I thought that was going to be the last question, but then I recognize I do have a question, but it's not a narcissism question. So it feels weird.
Okay, just go ahead and ask.
But anyway, my question is, how much do you think a new brand would think about in advertising dollars if they're really small?
Oh, you know what? I don't often get to, we don't run the advertising from the brands we work with. But I do think, so I don't know if I have a number in my mind that I could maybe share. I think it's really whatever your
theory then.
What's whatever you're comfortable with, right? But I do think that there is such value in advertising in some way. And now advertising there's a lot of things you can do, right? Like there's things you can do for free. Like when we have, can they brand that? That's a free form of advertising where we set up an Instagram account, we video ourselves brainstorming, edit the video down. We do all we started out doing all the editing ourselves. And that's a free form of advertising because we get to show our talent and our skill set and that gets shared and et cetera. In terms of actual like digital ads, so, maybe Instagram ads or Facebook ads, I mean, start out small, mess around at like somewhere between $5 and $10 a day, which it sounds insignificant, but that way you can start to test out different markets and different messages. and test it out for a week to see, is this getting some traction? Are people clicking? Are people paying attention? Am I targeting the right demographic? Like the first time we ever did ads for Obedient, we ran 3 different ads. We did 3 ads, and then each of those ads were ran to 3 different demographics. So technically there were like 9 ads running, and we did $5 per ad set. So $45 a day. So that's not, I'm trying to do math in my head really quick. $45 a day, which is like a lot. I mean, that's a significant amount for people. Not everyone's going to spring for that. But we ran that. And then in about a week, we're like, okay, now we know what demographic is resonating and what ad is working. And so we shut off all the other 8. And then we were down to the one ad that was like really performing well. And then we increased the budget on that a little bit. So I think there's a lot of ways to play around, but you have to test to see what people are engaging with and what works. So that's how I would start. You don't have to go bonkers and blow your budget right out the gate. I think it's good to just start small and get some traction.
I'm sorry, I should have asked that question differently. I should have said, how much of your marketing should be advertising? That was the question I should have asked. That's
no
professional.
But no, I love this one. I love this answer. This is a great answer.
It was a perfect answer.
It was a perfect answer. Where can people find out more about you? Follow you on social media? Go to your website? Hire you?
So website is obedientagency.com. Business social is Obedient Agency. Personal is just my name, Allie Lefevere. I weirdly don't have any social apps on my phone, so I don't check it a ton. I used to be really active on social, but I have given myself a mental break over the last couple of years. I've really weaned myself off, and I feel so free. So yeah, I'm not on social a ton, but when I do, if you want to see really cute pics of a 3-legged dog, then that's the kind of personal content you want, then I can provide that all day long.
That's fabulous. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's been awesome.
Jade, would you like to wrap us up?
Absolutely. You can find out everything your ladies are doing on www.andithoughladies.com. While you're there, take a moment, go to the middle of the page to see the charities we proudly support. We hope you can support them too. We thank you in advance for that. And just remember, y'all, wisdom is all around you if
you're open to finding it and accepting it. So peace and love, you guys, from Will Nona
and Jade. Bye-bye. Oh, yeah, thanks for listening.